This podcast is brought to you by the Prospect Research Institute, where researchers come to learn, innovate, and connect.
When you have that strong footing, that allows for just the exploration of so many ways to look and quantify success, look to the future. I can go to Kelly and say, okay, this is kind of what I'm thinking. This is an idea, and she can come with it and completely bring it to the next level.
Welcome to Prospect Research Chat Bites, a podcast by and for prospect research professionals. This interview is part of the Career Curious series. I'm Jennifer Filla. Today, I'm talking with Kelly Douglas, Senior Data Analyst, Development Analytics at Caltech, and Vanessa Boyle, Associate Director of Prospect Management at Caltech. Hello, Vanessa and Kelly. Thank you for joining me today on Chat Bites.
Thank you so much for having us. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to chat today.
I understand that you both started at Caltech in 2010, but what drew you to the prospect research field in the first place?
Sure. Like a lot of people in our industry, I fell into prospect research by accident. I like the idea of working for a university because I love the college community and how there are always activities going on and ways to be involved. So I'd ended up applying for a gift processing job at my alma mater. But since I had some experience skip tracing in a prior role, they recommended me for a prospect research position instead. I had never heard of it at the time. I didn't know what that was, but it ended up being a great fit. So that was a more haphazard way of getting there, but I feel like my path to analytics has been more deliberate. My interest there was initially sparked by attending the APRA and CARA conferences and seeing what cool things my peers were doing. I started with a data mining certificate to learn more and confirm that that was an area of interest for me. And then ultimately, I completed my master's in data science last year.
Congratulations, Kelly. And where did you get your data mining certificate from?
That one was through UC San Diego Extension, and then my master's was from the University of Wisconsin.
Very nice.
And when I started at Caltech, they didn't have an analytics department for the advancement department, but my demonstrated interest in that area had positioned me well to transfer when the opportunity presented itself. And one thing that I find really funny is that I took this career interest inventory all the way back in 2003. And it said that my highest interest was in data management, analyzing data for decision making. And I had completely forgotten about that questionnaire until I came across it after transitioning to my analytics role. So it feels like my future was predicted while I was still in college. And so apparently I'm in the right job.
Kelly, are you telling us there's no such thing as free will?
Maybe not.
Could this be? Wow, well, that's a great journey.
Thank you.
Vanessa, what's your journey been?
So for me, definitely unconventional as well. I had graduated from Long Beach State in 2006. I was engaged. I was going to get married that summer. And at that time, my husband was starting a new job. And so that job actually moved us to the state of Texas. And I was simultaneously getting a master's in library and information science because I realized pretty quickly on that I didn't know what I really wanted to do with my history degree from Long Beach State, and the world was changing. And I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and start this library and information science degree at San Jose State University, which was all online, which was great for me because at that time, we were moving to a new place and, all that goes in with that of being 26 and learning a new environment. And so when I was there, I started to poke around for a full-time job. And I came across a job at the University of Texas at Dallas, which is this small, and it's grown since then, campus in the city of Richardson. And I worked for Tony Lofton and Patty Carter. And they taught me everything I needed to know about prospect research. And I actually think I scored the job because I told them that I was getting my master's degree. So they thought, oh, okay. So, there's someone quite invested in what really was becoming quite apparent of a next education step of people who were in the prospect research field or who had come from library experience. So that was my first stint working in fundraising as a prospect researcher. That was 2008 to 2010. Then moved back to California, came to Caltech, and Caltech was actually hiring for 2 researchers. Kelly was already there, and I was hired alongside another researcher. And did that role for about a year and a half, 2 years, and realized that what I really loved to do is to take prospect research, but transition that into a training role. So I did an advancement information training role for about another 2 years, left Caltech for 2 years to go work through for K through 12 education at a county office in San Diego, and then was back at Caltech in 2016 working in prospect management. And that has been my role since then. And I would say for me, prospect management is a great pivot from prospect research because you're able to still dabble in that world, but yet there's a lot of focus, of course, on portfolio management. So for me, all of that leading up until now has helped me, to be more well-rounded, to feel like I really can accomplish a lot in the current role that I have. And it has allowed for Kelly and I to continue this journey together.
Right. So you came together, met each other in 2010 at Caltech. And from the brief conversation that we had before, I feel like you two are research soul sisters. I'm wondering if you're willing to share with everyone some of the uncanny things that you share in common.
The biggest thing that Kelly and I share, not only our love for, the institution that we work with and the field that we're in, but we are both twins. We both have twin brothers, which is quite unique. And I don't often run into folks or to meet folks that have twin brothers. So I think that has been a shared experience that, has been, wow, that's kind of unusual. I would say definitely that. Both of us have master's degree. We both love to travel. And beginning in 2010, we both were at Caltech at the beginning of the Breakthrough campaign. So that to me is, a longstanding journey of going through this campaign together and seeing how it's evolved. Those are the couple of things that come to mind for me.
Yeah, we also have Orange County connections. I grew up there and I lived much of my life there. And then Vanessa is currently in Orange County.
Yeah, my folks moved to Orange County when I was in high school and moved around a lot after being married, and then have, come back here to live just about a mile away from my parents.
Oh, that's got to make them happy.
Oh, of course it makes my husband happy. No, I'm kidding. We love to see them and to be together. The other thing Kelly and I were reflecting on is shared experiences, and what we have in common is we both remember the first project that we worked on together as prospect researchers. We were doing some research in Hawaii. I think it was Kona, if I'm right, Kelly. And, that was quite an undertaking for me, because what I really realized, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to this as you transition from, either higher education institution to a smaller organization or vice versa, the pace that I was accustomed to before when I was at UTD, which was a growing university, and being set into this very fast-paced Caltech way of doing things where there's just a different set of resources and a different set of just operation. For me, I really had to dive deep into myself and to really find just the opportunity that I was being presented with and really rise to that occasion. And what was great is that Kelly had the experience working in higher education in more of a fast-paced institution at UCI. So I was really looking at her to give me some pointers. And I think at that time it wasn't, oh, tell me everything you know. It was more indirectly, just, observing her and seeing how she interacted, because where I was in my early years of prospect research, that just, we were really starting that program. And that almost was great for me too, because I didn't come to this place where Kelly and I began to work together with all of these ways of doing things, and we've got to do it this way. Both of us were not only so inspired, but were so motivated to collaboratively come to the table with, new ways of doing things and really raise the level of presence that we had within our development organization. And we were called something different than we are now. But, that was helpful for me. And I really reflect back on that and think, I don't know if I would have gotten to the place where I am today if I didn't have that.
Wow. So the friendship, the interaction between the two of you has really impacted your performance.
Yes. I think since we both came into prospect development through prospect research, we have a good shared base of knowledge. Analytics works closely with prospect management and research. So understanding their end goals and how they work has been super helpful. Our teams have collaborated on multiple dashboard projects, and the close connection that Vanessa and I have makes that communication easy since we both have the deeper understanding of the data. And I think that Vanessa's really amazing at her job, and I just know that I can trust her to follow through with things. And she also sets me up for success through a lot of what she does. Analytics obviously relies on good data, and prospect management has a lot of involvement in managing prospect data. So Vanessa's been really great about advocating for quality control alerts and validation forms that ensure that we can have accurate data to report off of so that we get the right information. I also love working with smart, capable people who are committed to our team's success. And I feel lucky to work with Vanessa and the entire prospect development team that we have.
Kelly, you're so nice.
It's good to work with nice people.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't it? And that's very nice, Kelly. And that I absolutely feel the same way. And I shout that from the rooftops. I think what's so unique as well, not only the journey together, but just where we're at right now is that, Kelly and I now have a lot of years of experience under our belt. So we have the opportunity to be in conversations where we can be entrepreneurial, that we can pivot the way that we're doing things. We do. It's a freedom to be able to come to the table with, hey, I think we can do things this way, or I want to go back and look at the data and see what it tells us, for a 3-year period. How have things, have they changed? Have they evolved? And really, that's just the individual strengths that we each have and how that complements each other. And that challenges us, because I do think that we hold one another and our colleagues with a high set of expectations. And when you work in a place within data advancement services, and that's such a key backbone, when you have that strong footing, that allows for just the exploration of so many ways to look and quantify success, look to the future. So to me, it has been those individual strengths, because I can go to Kelly and say, okay, this is kind of what I'm thinking. This is an idea, and she can come with it and completely bring it to the next level. Nothing that I even thought of, but maybe that seed of idea helps for the both of us to continue to form these ways like dashboards, where we can look at Tableau and this visualization tool and be able to not only see it, but then converse about it, to look to see how we can not really change things, but capitalize on what really has worked, and then, see what hasn't worked and what it is that we need to modify. And I do think that when you are a researcher and you have that experience of wanting to dive deep and to, get to the bottom of it, that I think has only helped for us to see the joys. Being there in the beginning, there was a lot of foundation that we laid for what we see now. And it's hard to think back that long to think that really mattered, but it has.
That's great. So what I hear you describing is this really collaborative relationship, instead of having separate agendas, or if you had to go to someone who, was busy thinking only about their own workload, you wouldn't be able to have those interactive conversations that yield innovative new ideas.
Right. We really build off each other's strengths, be more effective than we would be individually. That interdependent relationship.
I mean, I pick up a little bit on Kelly's competitiveness. She's got that. And I love that. I love that edge, because I don't see myself as competitive. When we evaluate the strengths that we both have, that, we're able to really analyze with Gallup and our strengths finders, having the strengths that Kelly does and where I'm at. It's like, okay, yeah, we can actually work together. And then it's not only just compiling and having a product, it's working with development officers, leadership, our colleagues, on how that really transitions. And I probably pick up on that just a little bit more, because I have maybe a bit more of the front-facing relationship, particularly, with maybe development officers, because of the portfolio management perspective. So I have I've channeled Kelly in that competitiveness, not between the two of us, but just how we can up the ante a little bit.
Nice.
Right.
That's exciting. You guys are pretty lucky.
We are. Wow, we really are.
Agreed.
I love your story too, because it demonstrates your career trajectories. For lots of people, this past decade, it's been this whir of change, just rapid growth in information technology. It's easy to feel like you're going to get left behind. and maybe you should learn how to program in R, or you should learn other things. Do you have any tips for researchers who might be struggling to figure out like what should they be doing next, or how should they keep up with the field generally?
From an analytics perspective, I'd say that there are a ton of online resources for learning about data mining and programming. Sometimes you can even get them free from a library or a university. So like a few examples are sites like Coursera or DataCamp, Udacity, Udemy, lynda.com, and then just YouTube tutorials. You can also consider your organization's resources too. If you work for a college, your school's library might have great information, or you can think about tuition reimbursement that might be available. I would say make sure to find what works for you though. I've found that Coursera can sometimes be less beginner friendly than other sites, but everybody's different. And really what you want to do is pick a course or program that will motivate you to continue learning. Particularly in analytics though, it's really not about knowing everything. There's just too much to know and you can't know all of it. So what is most important then is knowing how to problem solve, how to find out what you need to know in the moment for your current project. You need to be able to gather additional information and know where to look so you can troubleshoot any relevant knowledge gaps you have. The lucky thing is that with prospect researchers, we tend to already be really high in curiosity and love learning. And that's what positions us well to move into these other areas. If you look at the upper body of knowledge and the list of desired behavioral traits between prospect researchers and data science analysts, there's a lot of overlap. And if they weren't labeled, they would be challenged just to even guess which one is which. So there's a lot of transferable skills there.
That is great advice. There are so many places to learn and to learn in different ways. It doesn't have to go any one particular direction. Have you experienced that as well?
Yeah, that was similar to my experience where I started in prospect research for the first 7.5 years of my career, and then transitioned into the analytics area after that, using and building upon those previous skill sets that I learned as a prospect researcher. And those really positioned me for success in my current role.
Yeah, you don't have to start out one thing and stick with it. Like you can
Right.
morph as you go along. It's such a great story. I love the story. Is there anything else before we go that you want to share?
One thing I think that has resonated with me and really helped me that I hope others will find helpful for them in their journey, especially if they are struggling, is to find a mentor. Find someone maybe within your organization, maybe not within your organization, who you can lean on to give some feedback, to have open conversations. I look back and I think I know that there were folks that I had interacted with, had left the organization that I was working at, but I continued those relationships, and that different perspective and opening your eyes up to different ways of doing things helps you to continue to be inspired and continue to stay curious and trying new ways of doing things. And you're going to get it wrong. That's okay. I think the best thing that Kelly and I have probably found is that we have done things, maybe a little bit differently now as we look back in, retrospectively. There's an element of throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, and having someone that you work with or your colleagues that you work with to know that you're going to keep trying to get it right. And I do think that it has been helpful to continue to see your work through the lens of a development officer and for leadership, and not seeing it in this way that you can become very siloed in the work that you do. Make it easy to understand, break down those walls, have that transparency, let people ask questions and be open to getting their feedback. Do a survey, find out how you are doing. And maybe it comes to a point, I know it did for me, and I didn't know that it was going to in my career. I left Caltech for 2 years and had an experience that was just wildly different. And I came back and I was so much better for it. And I'm grateful and I'm lucky that happened. And I credit a lot to the folks that were at Caltech that asked me to come back. That really has been what I think for Kelly and I has catapulted us forward, because we both took a step back, or took a sidestep from prospect research and explored other passions or other jobs, to then come to this place where we really we're full steam ahead. We don't want to stop. And for me, that has been, one of the most rewarding things that I've experienced.
And I would also just emphasize the overlap between the different pieces of prospect development. So to look for those opportunities.
Wonderful advice. Thank you both for sharing today.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you for having us.
That was Vanessa Boyle, Associate Director of Prospect Management at Caltech, and Kelly Douglas, Senior Data Analyst, Development Analytics at Caltech. I hope you enjoyed their story as much as I did. I loved hearing how these two savvy women sparked a friendship early in their careers and stayed connected, challenging each other to grow and perform in their complementary roles. Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come check out the Prospect Research Institute's learning community. It's a membership community with powerful resources, great discussions, and comprehensive courses. Check it out at member.prospectresearchinstitute.org. I'd love to have you join me as a member of the learning community. See you there.